Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. My name is Bonnie Northgraves, and this is another episode of Jazz Story Time. Jazz Story Time. Today I'm going to be talking about a tune that was written in 1928 and modified in 1929. This is by Spencer Williams, and this is the Basin Street Blues. So, let's jump into it. Womp 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 bano cam. Okay, I'm going to be playing this in the key of B flat. Alright, so there is the tune, Basin Street Blues. Written in 1928, Louis Armstrong recorded it that year. At that time, there were no verse and there was no lyrics, so it was just that Basin Street is a street where the best folks always meet kind of part. Okay, in 1929, Jack Teagarden and Glenn Miller added the verse and the lyrics the night before a recording session. So they kind of stayed up all night and they were like working over each other's shoulders, crossing things out, adding things in. And in February of 1929, they did that session. Later on, Benny Goodman had a hit with this song in 1934, and I especially like the Connie Boswell and Bing Crosby recording from 1937. Always a big fan of Connie Boswell. So just a bit of history about Basin Street and about this song and why it's important to jazz history. Basin Street was named because of the turning basin at the end of Canal Street. So in New Orleans you have Basin Street and you have Canal Street. Both have songs about them. Fun fact. So that linked Lake Pontchartrain to the French Quarter in New Orleans. So it's important because it's a supply of water. In the 1800s, Basin Street was quite the hip to do. It was where all the super fancy folks and the elite like to meet, which you hear in the lyrics. At the end of the century, however, that all changed. Big time. It became a bit of a red light district. And the folks at the city of New Orleans were like, how are we going to deal with this? Like, what are we going to do? And they decided, instead of just saying, no, you can't have any prostitution, they decided, okay, we're going to make an area where prostitution is legal, but only in this area. And hence the birth of Storyville. So Storyville was the red light district in New Orleans, and it was incredibly important to the history of jazz because not only did you have the madams and the brothels, but this is where all the jazz started. This is where people performed either for dancers or as entertainment beforehand. This was the birthplace of where jazz kind of evolved from. So if you check out Jelly Roll Morton's memoir, he vividly describes Storyville. So what does Basin Street have to do with Storyville? Well, Basin Street was the dividing line between what was called Storyville and what became the French Quarter. So, depending on your perspective, it was the divider between the right and the wrong side of town. Perspective, right? What is the right side and what is the wrong side? And Storyville remained a legal red light district from 1897 to 1917. So, approximately 11 years prior to this song being written. So, what do you think Basin Street Blues is actually about? Okay, so on that note, I'm going to sing it out for you. I think I'm going to change keys maybe to E flat. Won't you come along with me to the Mississippi? We'll take a boat to the land of dreams, floating down the river down to New Orleans. The band is there to meet us. Old friends, they will greet us. Where all the proud and the elite folks meet. Heaven on earth, they call it Basin Street. Now Basin Street is a street where the best folks always meet. New Orleans, land of dreams. You'll never know how nice it seems or just how much it really means. Glad to be, oh yes-sirree, where welcomes are free and dear to me, where I can lose my Basin Street blues. All right, there's a tune. Thank you so much for tuning in. It means so much to me. It's my pleasure to do this for you. So, without that, I wouldn't be doing this. Thank you so much. My name is Northgraves, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.